So the product and quotient rules are our new ways to handle some of these functions that we couldn't take derivatives of before. Now, we have examples of times that we could, right? If we were looking at a situation like this with some function that was, say, a polynomial times another polynomial, there's nothing stopping us from able to take this derivative. We would have to do a little bit of algebraic manipulation first in terms of distribution, but then we could use the power rule, right? So if we distribute everything, it looks like we're going to get 12x squared plus, squared cubed, plus 21x squared minus 8x minus 14. And this is something, if I wanted to take a derivative, I could just apply the power rule. So we get our 36x squared plus 42x minus 8. And we're done. Now, that's one way to handle it. We also saw previously some problems where there was a quotient, but we didn't need the quotient rule. I bring these up because these are times that it's important to, in my mind, think about which one is more efficient for you. If you are somebody who's really strong at the product rule, this is not a bad particular function to use the product rule for. In fact, let's go ahead and apply it. I know I'm going to talk about it more in a second, where it comes from, but we know if we're talking about this, we end up with I want to match the wording of the text that's here beside us. It looks like we're taking the derivative of that first function. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll use green to say we're doing the product rule. And I will take a little bit slower here. I will go ahead and use that prime notation to let us see that we're taking that derivative. Then that g of x stayed the same. And then we added our f of x times the derivative of our g of x. Okay, so we could take those two derivatives, still power rule. We have a 6x, and then we're still going to have that 4x plus 7 being multiplied to it. And then it looks like we have our 3x squared minus 2 times 4. So what should happen if I distribute everything, we should end up in the same place. We end up with, this is when I get real scared. Did I do math poorly earlier? We will find out. We have 24x squared plus 42 plus 12x squared. I lost something somewhere, I feel like. Minus 8. Am I going to have to redo all of this? Because I lost. Oh my gosh. No, I'm good. I kept looking at f of x. Oh my god, I'm leaving this in, but I kept looking at f of x and being like, I don't have an x cubed. But we're okay. 36 x squared plus, this should have had an x on it, 42x minus 8 is the same thing, whether we did the algebra or the product rule. So, minus my momentary loss of consciousness, we are good. I'll go ahead and show you one where we could use or not use the quotient rule. Then we'll talk about how we derive these and the other ways to represent them before I give you some examples down below.